he said, hey, separate and apart, I was thinking about registering. And I was like, well, look, I said, the biggest ISO program was First Data's. And they fucking hated it so much and managing it and all the bullshit that ultimately they bought CardConnect and just pushed all that down to CardConnect, right? Like if you have an issue with CardConnect and you've been pushed to them, you still deal with Fiserv. Fiserv owns CardConnect. You can't find retail ISO. Nobody wants to deal with retail ISO. So what's emerged is, and I've said this on another podcast, there's all of these super ISOs that have basically become like a mini processor. They use the bank and processor as functionaries. Bank's always been a functionary. They needed to move money. But the actual idea of authorizing a transaction, that becomes something that's mechanical that the processor does. But ultimately, you're registered with the card brands, you have a direct relationship with the bank, and you're subcontracting to the processor for that actual function. Everything else that used to be at the processor level, customer service, however long, any sort of reporting, ancillary services that can be sold, anything that you can think of that a processor used to provide, the Super ISO provides, but now they provide it with the idea of the agent is important. At the processor level, the agent, you're important maybe, right?
Not really.
Not really.
Pretty much never.
Never, totally. Even with the people now who are the largest ISOs with processors, they still get fucked over, totally, all the time. And if you have an agent who built an ISO based on doing what's right for the agent and also preparing and providing an environment that is conducive to the agent, like, hey, here's 30 different POS systems that you can use. Don't worry about managing the relationship. I'll manage the relationship for you. Here are the terms. Just go sell. Go sell, and if you have any issues or any problems, come back and talk to me. One of our clients, dude, they are a huge ISO, huge. And the owner, because he loves it, will still go on the phone with you. No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
there's a few like that where the guys are still the guys, and you wonder when these big companies sell, does it change? And kind of not with some of our better big clients. It's trickle down. It's every single person there.
It's make the pie bigger.
Make the pie bigger.
Like all these guys make the pie bigger, which makes my slice bigger. That's the way that they look at it.
Yeah, and they hook them up. I mean, we've had clients for years giving away low risk processing to balance out their high risk books. So like the regular agents, when they come to us and they're like, I want to book a deal with TSYS, I want to CardConnect deal, or don't do that.
Yeah.
Even though somebody on here last week was saying they loved CardConnect, and I was like, yeah, everyone used to love them, but
I don't know. So I think it's how married you get to like the back end systems. I think it's how easy they are to use.
Well, when they send out a clawback notice saying we've been overpaying you for 2 years, give me $4 million, that's not really great.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Like I don't, it's this idea of we hold the money, so here are the terms.
Right.
And whether or not we bargained for them on the front end, right?
Yeah, but when these people come to us and they're saying, hey, this is the path, it's like you go to college, you get a job, you become an agent, you work for an ISO, then you become your own registered ISO. We're going, no, that's not the path anymore. Yeah. I still think you should probably go to college for most people, but like maybe not. And
so what is the path, James?
The path is if you're clocking anything less than 500 to 1,000 deals a month, you go work for one of these bigger ISOs. You're going to get better pricing, better service, better technology. And I mean, the solutions will be the same, but you go to these guys, you're not hooked to selling Clovers. You're not hooked to selling whatever.
Well, look, it's the same thing with what we do, right? There are people that work here that are in this office that are really smart, capable attorneys. But you start talking to them about the business of the law firm, they're lost. There are a bunch of agents that are really good salespeople, and they can make a shitload of money being good salespeople, But you talk to them about having to manage all these different relationships, look at contracts, like that's where some of these super ISOs have gotten really smart. They just treat the agents really well because that's the driver of new business. And they make it so that all they have to do is sell. The minute, like, you know, you get people that don't understand business.
HR, accounting.
Totally. Like, you know, all
classifying your workers. I mean, that's one of our huge litigation topics that come up over and over and over. You've got these 1099 agents that you're making do this, that, the other thing. Those are employees.
Even yesterday, I had somebody send me a contract that they wanted to, like, exhibit control over independent contractors to the point where, like, look, you're blurring the line so much here. Like, I understand you want to do this, but yeah, at what cost?
It gives
eventually?
you an out. Yeah. And then so that agent, they leave and they flip all their business, and you're going, I want to sue them. That agent is going, come at me. I'm going to hit you with mass misclassification.
Yeah.
No, I'm taking all my merchants and keep paying me. And if they call me up, I'm going, you probably should, because he's going to get a plaintiff's attorney that's going to work this for free, and he's going to win, and it's just a matter of how much. So you got to let this guy go because you treated them poorly.
Yeah, I mean, there's all these business practices that people want to keep repeating in this particular industry. Like yesterday, Leo gave me we had to do a response to an attorney demand letter. And it was about equipment and payment processing. And I'm like, hey, dude, when you tie these two agreements together and you have the same person selling them and one fails and you're trying to enforce the other one, could become a problem for you, right? I mean, like, he hasn't been doing this long enough to see or know any of that. But we come from the time of, here, let me sell you a fiction, and here, let me strap a whole bunch of equipment to it. And you know, essentially, there's deceptive practices that go with sales that you just have to be aware of, and there's a new generation of that happening.
I used to get more calls where it was someone, whether it was an agent or ISO, who said, hey, I've built up my book, I'm ready to sell. I haven't heard that a lot lately. So can you guys talk, has something changed in the industry? Is that not happening as much?
It's still happening. It went down for a while because of, politics. You know, there was stuff
Interest
going
rates.
on.
No, but interest rates.
Make it hard. Money's more expensive.
Yeah, money's more expensive. Like, it was really easy to buy when money was cheaper. The other problem is that, I mean, this is a long conversation if you want to have a podcast about this. One of the problems is, how close are you to the money? And because look, if I'm not a registered ISO, then I'm one step down from the money. And if I'm an agent for an agent of an ISO that's registered, I'm 3 steps away from the money. If I'm a purchaser of that money, there's a lot that could happen that could prevent me from collecting what I'm looking for and what I'm buying.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Beyond, like, bad faith from the seller. Total things out of my control where the money just stops flowing. And at that point in time, I just spent a whole bunch of money for what? So the price that actually can be commanded for somebody that's further down the chain, it's a lot less.
I always say, like, you probably shouldn't sell most of the time. You know, most of the people sell because they've already spent the money and they need the money. You know, unless you're selling for a huge portion, like these small deals, they're not great. You don't get a lot of money for it, you know, unless you're higher up. Now, the idea is...
Well, no, I disagree with that. I think that there are deals out there where if you go buy the residual of an agent that's kind of... And look, they're few and far between. But say you find somebody with a $10,000 residual that's had merchants that have been with them for 8 to 10 years, and it's all relationship, and if you just manage and have a good handoff of that relationship, you can buy it for 20x and watch it go on for the next 100 months. That's a pretty good return.
It's good, but it's risky, because what happens when that agent says, hey, I sure do miss getting $10,000 a mailbox money.
No, I agree with you. Like, if they got to be, like, old or getting out of the business or something.
Or you bring it. I mean, the best deal is you bring them in and then they work with you if you're one of these good ones. But some of our bigger ISOs, they're not buying up people that much because, you know, you're buying up a potential problem.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that's the one that So for all the wholesale ISOs out there, you all should get together and create a agent list, like a bad agent list. Like
we have one. People never. I always say, I was like, why didn't you call? Like, people should be calling us before they hire an agent that's been in the space.
I have a phone call right after this, and they mentioned an agent's name. They said, "Hey, I think we want to sue her for defamation and flipping merchants." And I looked at the name, and I'm like, God, why does that sound so familiar? And I can't remember the guy's name, but you would remember him. But all of a sudden I went, oh, I know who that is. And somebody hired us 3 years ago to go after this person for flipping merchants. Like, it's the exact same thing.
I remember that, Chris.
So most of the time, there's merchants that, they're agents that they're just going to do the same thing over and over,
and they get away with it. They maybe get sued. They usually, a lot of times it's not worth suing these little guys that do it, but
that's going to be my phone call.
Yeah, I hop on,